Well, hello, you beautiful sack of haunted meat, and welcome to the Fitness Real Talk show on the Nerd Gym YouTube channel, something like that. I am your certified free range organic coach, Melanie Black, and today I will be interviewing my very special guest, Jaime Soto. Hi, Jaime. And
Hello.
we're going to talk all about some very cool stuff because Jaime is in a unique position to be able to speak on the role of music in motivation and physical activities because Jaime is a very physical, musical kind of man. Amazing individual, vocalist, songwriter, gymnastics coach, manages online teams at a company. So many talents. Hi, Jaime.
I thought you were gonna just say because he's unique.
Well, that's true, but your uniqueness, I mean, it goes beyond words, really. Now, fair warning to anyone who's watching this: we don't edit, we don't script. Jaime knows a couple of the questions I'm going to ask him. I have no idea what the answers are going to be. We are friends off of the computer world, and our conversations sometimes lead us to dark and raunchy places. So if you have children in the room, keep them around because they're going to have to learn sometime. Yeah, but don't try to treat or diagnose anything with this video. So,
Yeah.
Jaime, what is your necklace? That's cool.
It is appropriate for today. It is some headphones.
Little headphones.
Yeah. Shout
Oh
out
my
to
God.
my friend BB gave them to me.
BB.
And you know what? I didn't really plan it, but this is a KXCI radio shirt. So
Right. Okay. Yeah. So tell the folks when they can hear you on the radio and where to find your album, and then we'll circle back around so they know what that means. You will care by the end of this conversation where to find you
yes, because I'm so incredibly cool.
Yeah.
And unique
Well.
and amazing.
Obviously. Okay. So yeah. When's the radio show?
So me and my friend do a radio show called 11 to Heaven, aka Trainwreck Radio. It broadcasts every Sunday night at 11 p.m. for all you late night people. It goes 11 p.m. Sunday till 2 a.m. Monday. And it's 3 hours of us. We just say it's 3 hours of us train wrecking, having weird random conversations, and then playing a lot of new music that's recently come out. Our main focus is to get our hands on new stuff and get it out into the world. And it's a lot of fun. It's myself as Jaime J, and it's my friend Sky Shadows hosting as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool. And you've been doing that for a long time. How long have you been doing that? I know that wasn't one of the questions I was supposed to ask you.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I started, you know what? I remember I started taking the KXCI DJ adult class in 2008.
2008.
It doesn't seem like it was so long ago, but I feel like it was many ages ago now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's over a decade ago.
Were we still working at Creative Ventures back?
Oh my gosh, you know what? Were we?
Yeah, we might have been.
I think I started working over there. That's where we first met, at Creative Ventures, RIP, with Craig. Shout out to Craig. Yeah. In 2006. I don't know how long I worked there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just kind of disappeared one day.
Yeah, that's it.
I think we both kind of disappeared one day.
Yeah, I think so. We had other callings in life.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the main things that I want to talk about in this conversation, I feel that you are in a unique position to give your perspective on this, is the role of music in motivation, in people's ability to manage their lives. Now, I don't know if you think of music as a management tool like I do, though. I'm kind of like, I'm nerdy about self-improvement. I often forget to listen to music enough. So I want to know, like, first off, do you think of music in terms of entertainment, as like a tool for mood modification? How do you think of music?
This is so weird because I don't think about music ever. But that's because I'm so like immersed in it.
Right.
You know, just like right in the middle of it all the time. But it is definitely, for me, it's just such an emotional thing, I think. And it probably is that. And, you know, you hear the word emotional and you automatically think, oh, you listen to it when you're brokenhearted and sad. But all encompassing emotions, you know, you feel excited you want to get pumped for something, sometimes, you'll put on like a jock jams is the first thing I thought of course, because we've been conditioned through corporations to buy jock jams when we want to get pumped. But also it's really great music. It's really upbeat music. A lot of it is like house-based kind of dance music. But no, anytime I feel emotional, and that's encompassing all emotions. When I feel bored, when I feel excited, when I feel happy, when I'm oddly enough, in the context of working out, I have a weird relationship with it, I think. I think people listen to it when they work out to get pumped, right?
A lot of times, yeah. The pump up song, like, you go to powerlifting competitions, or, it's probably similar in gymnastics, I don't know, but you'll have people who have their song, you see them like getting ready to go out and do the thing, like just pumping themselves up. Yeah. But you're different. You don't have a pump up song, I take it.
But that's the thing. I do have pump up songs. Okay. Shout outs to, where is she? Right there, Gwen.
Gwen. The power of Gwen girl. Compels you.
Just a girl from No Doubt. Some of my pump up songs, anything by the Venga Boys.
Of course.
But no, we're gonna get into it. Are you ready to dive into this?
I'm ready.
In the context of working out, sometimes two choices I usually make. The first choice is just put something on, because I'm frustrated. Like, I love working out. I love the benefit of working out. I don't love working out. I don't want to, at the end of the day, I don't want to pick up some heavy stuff, and I don't want to feel tired, and I just don't want to do it. But the reason why I do it is for the results afterwards, like I guess the endorphin release, the good mood that comes after working out is why I'm so invested in doing it. So when I am in that headspace where it's like, I don't feel like doing this, I don't want to do this. And I think you've seen me have that moment a lot.
I think that's how we start nearly every one of our workouts together is, I don't want to do this. Do you want to do this? Nope. Let's do it anyways.
Yeah. And then we usually say, this is going to be the one that we're not going to get through today. And then we always get through it.
We always get through it. We always feel better afterwards.
Right. So my attitude in that moment is always like, oh God, just put something on. Like, it's never like, I'm going to put that one song on. It's like, just put something on in the background. And I usually reach for Gwen, because I love Gwen, as everybody in the world that knows me knows. But I usually reach for just like a familiar album of hers that I like. I don't reach for like the super up-tempo pop hits. I just press play because I just want it to be in the background, and like it soothes me in a way, I think. I think it's like more just for soothing.
Calm the beast.
Calm the beast. Exactly. I just like to have it on. But then there are times, of course, usually when we don't work, because we're on a little bit of a program together. So the days that we don't meet, I do, I've been really loving doing a Tabata, because they're only a Tabata interval, 4 minutes long. So just so short, right? Mm-hmm. And I've been doing Russian swings, and Tabata, of course, you can find all these different songs online that are Tabata songs, and it's usually something upbeat that kind of gets you through. So for those ones, I don't really have much of a choice. It's like Tabata, house, dance, electronic, Tabata, Bruno Mars hit single song, whatever it is attached to is the ones. And those, they don't make me feel better or more pumped, but they are connected to music. So that's how we got to this point.
Sometimes just getting the tempo going, getting
a tempo going, and trying. The challenges with those is always trying to like keep on tempo, or even like past the tempo. But yeah, so there are rare moments where I will put on the upbeat, the jock jams, the Venga Boys.
Does anybody even know what jock jams are anymore?
I don't know.
Not that anyone watching this video is probably like any younger than us, frankly, but yeah.
Should we educate people now?
Yeah. How would you describe jock jams, Jaime?
Well, 1990s, right? The 90s. This nostalgia. People are really into nostalgia right now as like an aesthetic, like as a fashion aesthetic and a music aesthetic. So back in the 90s, someone had the genius idea to take all of these really great 1990s techno, electronic, and pop songs and compile them onto one disc that you can buy for like $19.99 or whatever it was. And it was like an infomercial, and it had like Technotronic, I think, is on it, with like pump the jam, pump it
Yep.
up, and like
Right, all
songs
that
in that vein. It's
in
just
that
like a
genre.
whole CD, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure that stuff is online. I'm sure you could probably, if you use
Right.
a streaming service, it's probably online.
That's the thing.
You can access it.
So, okay, I've got issues with jock jams and with streaming services. I want to
So do I.
get your take on this. Now, one of the problems with something like a compilation like Jock Jams is you're cherry picking a bunch of hyped up music from different albums. And one of the things that I really miss from purchasing a whole album, whether that was on cassette tape or record or disc or whatever, is there was that one song that you bought it for, right? That one song you purchased it for. And then the other songs that you fell in love with along the way. And it expands you. It opens you up to songs that you might not have otherwise really listened to, but you're already put in the investment. You'd put in the money to buy the full freaking album. So now you're going to listen to it, and the B-sides become your favorite. All that. But you don't get that from something like a playlist or Jock Jams or whatever that's sort of cherry picked. What is your thoughts on that?
No, I think I feel what you're saying for sure, because I just in my life, like I was a big cassette hoarder as a kid. I would take them with me everywhere. Everywhere. I had them in all my pockets. It was always so fun. It was like, I'm not a fan of Christmas for personal dark reasons, but but I was a fan of getting a cassette from my favorite person, my favorite singer. Shout out to Winona Judd and country music in the 90s.
Oh,
I know it's gonna kill you. Don't die.
I've softened on country a little bit over the years, but go on.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get you on the 90s country train. It's fun stuff. But anyway.
Yes.
It was the greatest experience to like buy that cassette, because you could, at that time too, you would only hear the one single they put out to promote the album on the radio. If they were on the radio and they were famous and they were commercial, right? Yeah. That's the only place you could hear your favorite artist's new single. Brilliant money-making model, right? Which has gone to hell a little bit now, but that's another story for another time. But so then, yeah, you'd go to Sam Goody or whatever warehouse or whatever record store or tape store or whatever music store, buy it, and you'd only know the single. And then I remembered exactly what you're saying, falling in love with all of these new songs. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know what to expect, really. That was always amazing. And I had a memory about it the other day when I got Winona Judd's 1993 second solo release, Tell Me Why. And I remember I bought it, and then I think my dad bought it for me, and then I had it for about like half a day, and he walked up to me and he was like, "You already have all the words memorized, don't you?" And I was like, "Yes." And I did. I had all the words memorized, because it's that moment you're talking about, falling in love with all the songs. Can you get it from a playlist? Maybe, probably. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. I make a lot of playlists for our radio show, and we go through them once and I never really listen to them again.
Right. Yeah,
so it's a different experience, but I suppose you could compile all your favorite songs from, but you're talking specifically about the single album experience.
Right. Or just the experience of being exposed to maybe music or sounds that you wouldn't otherwise listen to, because a lot of times we fall into a very narrow loop of what we're listening to, and we can expand that out either by committing to the full album experience, which I didn't realize really how much I missed that until your album, Glacier Wave project came out. Tell people real quickly where to find that, because that is amazing. And honestly, the song that I like the most to begin with has changed over the course of me listening through that full album multiple times. So that's what kind of got me thinking about that. So where did they find this project that you are a part of here, Glacier Wave?
Our band, I'm in a band. I put my hands in every pot, so there's a lot of things I do.
Yeah.
Right now I'm working on a project or a band called Glacier Wave. It's stylized as the word glacier dot WAV, which is us nodding to like music production. And when you are an electronic musician, you know, or whatever musician, and you're recording in your computer, you save your files. Wave files are like the best quality that you could possibly save your files in. So we wrote a song called Glacier, and then we made a file called glacier.wav. And then my bandmate Frank was like, that should just be our band name. This is like what we do, so that's our band name. And you can find our first album pretty much anywhere. It's all over the internet.
Yeah, I'll put some links in the description on this video so people can find it. But
cool,
yeah, it was.
But you know what people?
Yeah, go ahead.
Say, you know what people should do is they should watch our cool music video that we made because it came out really good. It's called "I Want to Feel the Sun" and it's on YouTube.
I will link to
that.
And
it came out like it came out so good because so it's good. Like I wasn't expecting it. I don't know, it just happened. It was crazy the way it all came together. Yeah. But it's kind of like a slightly lower budget X-Men movie.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. I like it.
It's great.
Yeah, no, the whole project is absolutely amazing. But yeah, it's one of those. Now I like synthwave, and this is synthwave adjacent. I wouldn't put it in the synthwave box entirely, but it's got a toe in there. So it might be something that I might normally listen to, but again, it was sort of outside of what I had been listening to. So just kind of expanding your musical like listening to things outside of what you normally would, I think has a really beneficial emotional mood impact. That I think that for me personally, I often underestimate that because my tendency where you are to constantly immersed in music, I often forget to listen to music entirely, or because a big portion of my job was in a gym, it was always just like dum, 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 real on the beat kind of music. So, so it's, so I like that you don't necessarily listen to the typical jock jams to get yourself pumped up for a workout, because there's something to be said for all emotions as a motivator.
For sure, yeah. And don't get me wrong, world, I love jock jams. Love that music. Right. It's great music. All that stuff is wonderful. But yes, and you said it best. You summed it up best for me. It's like I usually put stuff on to soothe my inner beast that's like, I don't want to do this. So I put on, and you're right, talking about like, unless you're committed to like in our world, we do a radio show, so we listen to a lot of things. We listen to somebody's new album, but I am guilty. I don't know if this is a strength or a weakness, but I skim through seconds of songs until something just jabs me in the eye, and I'm like, that's the one I want, and I pull it into the playlist, and I don't listen to the rest of the album, which poor artists, like, and I should know because I'm one of those artists that's like making whole albums, but it's definitely a different experience with just technology and stuff now. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you also have a coaching background, and you still do a little bit of coaching here and there for gymnastics. And so I'm curious, like, I know that in the gym world, being in the gym, having the right music on can play a really crucial role. And for many years when I had a physical location, there was some hot debate around what would go on those speakers. And I am very grateful now that I'm teaching classes online and everybody can listen to their own music while they're working out. But I'm curious what your experience was from a coach's standpoint in seeing how music affected your students or not during or before. Yeah.
Well, I conducted a couple experiments.
Okay.
and I'll tell you about them. So for many, many, many years of my life, I worked in a gymnastics facility, and I worked my way from the bottom to the top, right? And when I was at the bottom in my younger days, I would always dart for the radio to have control over what was being played. And then we'd kind of share through it and stuff. And then as I got older and moved up along the ranks, I started to kind of distance myself from like having to put my music on in order to like get me in my mood and do whatever. And I started working more closely with preschool programs, and those always felt super chaotic. Like you get a bunch of 3-year-olds, or we had like parent taught classes with kids that were 18 months, and they all had different personalities. Some of them were super hyperactive. Some of them would just scream the whole time. Some of them were great and did fine, like whatever it was. And then we had 3-year-olds, and those classes were where they're independent and were always super chaotic, with sometimes kids darting across the gym, and kids are doing dangerous things, and then a kid's darting across. So I decided to conduct an experiment one day. Instead of playing like the usual, like loud, kind of blaring pop music or up-tempo stuff, I was like, you know what? I have found these relaxation CDs. I have found this spa music essentially. And I was like, I'd like to see if this has any like, if there's any benefit to playing some spa relaxation music in the background while conducting a preschool class.
Okay.
Right. So I was like, this makes sense to me. If there's chaos and I have this type of thing playing, perhaps I can control the chaos a bit better by setting like an audio expectation. Like when people walk in and kids walk in, they hear those soothing sounds, and therefore they will be soothed. That was my big plan.
Okay.
So
how did it work?
It actually, I don't really know, to be honest, because putting that music on soothed me. So I was a little bit better, right? And I'm only realizing this, remembering this now. I felt more soothed, which could have affected like everyone else's mood as well. Because when you're a coach, you have a lot of power. But I felt overall that it worked better. I did feel like that it worked better to set like this expectation, this audio expectation for those young kids when they walk in. They weren't hearing the wiggles like blah 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 blah, and they weren't hearing like our teenagers like douche 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 douche, just all this stuff. They were hearing like maybe whale sounds, maybe like the light trickling of like water, and I felt like it made a difference. I really believe it did, but the experiment didn't last long. I didn't pull enough data, because then I unassumingly had launched myself into a battle with teenagers over what would be played on our stereo system. Me as the manager of the gym fighting with teenagers suddenly, like, what are you doing? Like, we're playing this music for a reason. And then it was just a mess from then on out.
Yeah, teenagers are having a hard enough time staying awake as it is. You're putting them to sleep with whale song.
Yeah. Which maybe that was another goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember we had at my first gym physical location, we had a foundations class for senior citizens. And for a while in that class, we were playing like, soft jazz in the background. A lot of these folks couldn't hear real well. So you wouldn't want to play like loud music in an environment like that or whatever. So we had, some soft jazz on in the background, and everybody, they just kind of tootled along through the workout, and it was fine. But then one day I put on the Beach Boys, and holy crap, you have never seen a group of 5 senior citizens become more alive than he did on that day. It was wild, the difference in their performance, just hearing music that they were jamming to when they were kids, sort of bringing them back, pulling them back to that moment, made them feel more energetic. And I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, the other end of the spectrum.
Cool. Yeah, that's incredibly cool.
Yeah, so it's funny, we've both run similar experiments on different ends of the age spectrum.
Yeah. And I mean, ultimately, I lost my battle for a while. we had a very interesting dynamic in that space. Like in hindsight, it's like, oh, I should have, if I made the rule should have like stood the test of time. And but we had, it was not good. So
Right.
the teenagers won for a moment, right? So and then they presented their case to me, and I was always open to listening to them because they're kids, and if you listen to them, then you can find usually common ground and work with them a little bit better. If you just shut them out, then it's going to be chaos,
Yeah.
So I listened, and they kept saying, when we're in here, we want to get pumped. Like I'm going to be on floor exercise. I'm going to be trying to go to like, and their case was like, I need to make my skills, and this loud, fast music pumps me up to make my skills. And they're doing pretty big skills and stuff. And so I took it in, but at the same time, I would like kind of spout out to them, you come here to work out and you do a good job no matter what's on the radio or what's over the speakers. You don't come here to listen to music. I was so mean sometimes, and I'd be like, boom. But still, I would walk away like blocked. But I would walk away and go like, okay, I'm going to try to have compassion for this moment and like show them some respect and say, okay, fine. You can play that stuff. However, there are rules. You only get to play it after 5 p.m. when all of our recreation students are gone, when all our preschool students are gone. And none of it, of course, we just established boundaries. Like you can't play any like sexually explicit things. And that was another interesting thing because sometimes they would put stuff on the speaker system that was highly inappropriate for that type of environment. Overtly sexual, too many bad words. And it was an interesting moment because I was the only one that was catching the lyrics, and everybody else was saying, there's no bad lyrics in this song. And that's when I had another moment where I was like, holy crap, there's different types of people in the world. We all hear music differently. Yeah. So, and we talk about this, my music friends all the time, and hey, so-and-so, do you like this song? And they go, no. And then they'll say, well, why? And they'll say, well, because this sound and that instrument and this thing and the beat. And then I go, what about the lyrics? And they go, I don't listen to lyrics. And I'm like, what?
Mind blown.
How could you not? Like, whatever. So I think a lot of those kids they were so in the zone and had the music on as a motivational tool, but also in the backdrop a bit. So they're more invested in like how it makes them feel in terms of the actual music and rhythm, and not paying attention to the lyrics. So that was an interesting moment too.
Yeah. People definitely pick up on different things from the music, and the associations we have with music culturally are so incredibly strong too, as far as like what movie, music we expect during a scary movie versus an inspirational movie, and how jarring it can be if the wrong music is selected for those types of situations, and how it can absolutely change the dynamic of it. So yeah. And as far as like, can you remember are there any musics in your life that you absolutely maybe hated at one point, but you have over time grown to love, or vice versa, because of circumstance that was associated with that music?
I'm a weirdo. I don't know. I like anything. I really like anything. And you know what? And right in line with what you're saying, overall, is if I'm in a certain mood, I pull for a certain thing, for sure. So I don't try to rule anything out. I am getting older, and this is like a joke we have too. And I'm like, I don't understand the kids' music these days, But if I want to feel young and alive, I will listen to the new Ariana Grande or whatever the kids are listening to, or like whatever songs are happening on TikTok.
I totally thought Ariana Grande was dead. I'm like, I must be mixing her up with a different pop star. I'm like, because she came up in a different conversation we're having recently, and I'm like, didn't she die? I don't know. She's not dead.
No, she's not.
Okay.
but no, I just like everything. I love everything. I try not to think about it too much. And even when we made our Glacier Wave album, we kept throwing words around like, oh, synthwave. Oh, let's write a ballad like Prince and the Revolution. But then when the album's done, like so many people have said, like it sounds kind of like that, but also a lot of different things. So it's interesting. So I feel like anytime I put my hands on something, it usually turns into a weird mashup of things, usually. But I'm open to pretty much anything. There was a period in our local scene where like noise music, and it still is pretty popular, but it felt like it like just had this like resurgence of popularity, and a lot of people were doing like noise-based, like unrestricted, unmeasured projects that didn't fall traditionally within the scope of what we think of when we think of music. So I dabbled in that a little bit. I grew up listening to country music in the 80s and 90s, like the golden era of country music, in my opinion, of course. Motown as a kid, traditional Mexican American or Mexican music, or I was in a mariachi band. I was in orchestra. I played piano. I always wanted to be a singer. I listened to Selena, then I listened to No Doubt, and I listened to ska, and I listened to reggae, and I don't know, just all over the place. And of course, that's not like the full spectrum of music. There's so much more than what I'm listing out. But I'm not opposed to listening to anything. Like, I'm not. It's cool. I don't know.
Cool. Yeah, I know that for myself, there's definitely a lot of circumstantial reasons around music why I will or will not like it. You know, the reason I hate country is because I immediately associate it with all of the assholes that I grew up with who were racist and homophobic and violent and just bad people all around. And they would be blaring country all the time. So that's my immediate association. Yeah. Now, I've softened a little bit over the years. You know, having people who don't fit that stereotype being proponents of that music, like yourself, make me a little bit softer on the whole issue, but
yeah,
I still have that real strong association with it. Yeah. And then other types of music that I didn't like at all, exercise actually made me like over time. When I was first taking boxing in the early 2000s there, and there was this one instructor who played the same effing Black Eyed Peas album over and over again. And My Humps is a horrible song.
No.
But the lyrics, atrocious. The song, bad. The video, the dancing, terrible. Like everything about it is just absolutely terrible. But I heard that song every single time I worked out for months on end. And eventually the association of how good I felt during the workout was attached to this music. So now every time I hear, like, I'm like, yes, ready. I'm ready to punch somebody because, but in a happy way, because I was taking boxing, you know.
No, I just gotta say, I love that song. I love it. I associate that song with going to bars at that time and having a blast singing those lyrics with all my friends. Shout out to Fergie.
Fergie.
But I did want to say to you, like, getting back to what you're talking about with like you're associating country music with a lot of people in your past that you don't appreciate, who are just kind of crappy people. But I do want to add, Mel, don't deprive yourself of the gay cowboy experience. And that's all we're going to leave it there.
Yeah.
Remember, there's a whole other world.
Yeah, well,
cowboy culture.
Well, maybe you don't know. I'm a big Trixie Mattel fan, so she's softened me a little bit on it. Lil Nas pissing off Christians recently has retroactively made me like Old Town Road.
So good, so good. Yes.
Yeah. That gave me great joy this month. Is just watching this one Lil Nas rapper just stirring the pot.
Yeah.
The ability of music to stir the pot.
It's incredible, right? And I think I take it for granted. I feel like my whole life has revolved around it, and everything I've ever tried to do involves it, like dabbling even in like the burlesque scene. You know, and I mean, traditionally you find a song that you want to like perform to or do a strip tease to. So that was always, you know, every project I did, I think it's involved music in some way. But I don't think about it anymore, you know, like I just been doing it for so long, performing for so long, working out for so long. Like I don't think about it anymore, but it really is an incredible art form that, like, and the cool thing about it is you can't see music, you can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't hold it in your hand. Like you listen to it and you experience it that way, and that's what really steers your emotions and your motivations and can shape your moments in your life. It's just such a, now I'm getting all like, whoa, like it's a really it's an amazing thing. Like people don't say magic is real, but I mean, you got music.
Seriously, no, it is unique to other art forms in that its ability to layer on top of any other art form or human experience, its ability to layer on top of that and change the perception of that moment, you know, from something negative to positive or positive to negative to, you know, or to enhance the feeling of that moment, whatever it is. There's very, very few, I can't really think of any other art form that you can so effectively change the mood of something with besides music. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it's incredible. It's so incredible.
Yeah.
It's not, I can't wrap my mind around it. It's so amazing. And it's also amazing too, like in rare moments in my life where when I meet people that are like, I don't like music, I don't listen to music. And I'm like, what kind of, like, what kind of, like, how, like, because it's so important to my life, I guess, but what must that experience be like? And we're all so different as well, like, and we all take something so different away from each piece of music that we hear. So it's amazing. My God, it's amazing.
Yes.
Very
all right,
weird.
so once we're finished with our conversation here, what music are you going to be listening to this afternoon?
I don't know. To full transparency, today I'm actually listening to so many ghost stories right now, which
cool.
Which, I mean, there's an element of music usually in ghost stories as well, like ghost podcasts. And I've been watching some Netflix haunted shows, which, you know, and you mentioned earlier, like how the music can shape the scene of a movie or an experience. And so we should totally make a really weird project where we use all the wrong music for the wrong scenes and just see what happens. By the way.
No, it would be awesome and wild for sure. And I feel like there are some directors that dabble in that a little bit, like I think Quentin Tarantino movies, he does that sometimes, like just picking odd campy music to go with very violent scenes, for example, you know, things like that.
They've done that in horror movies also, and it's still scary now that you mention it. Like there's what's that terrible one? I think it's Jeepers Creepers, I think it's called, and there's a song called Jeepers Creepers, and so they use the old school song, and it's really creepy. That movie is terrible.
The contrast makes it more creepy.
Yeah. So I don't know, I don't know. Who knows? But what am I going to listen to today? More murder stuff and more horror stuff. And then I don't know. Have I listened to anything so far today? I don't know if I have. What about you? Have you listened to anything today at all?
I've listened to your album again.
Really? I'm on railing. I mean, yes.
Of course.
That could have been my moment. That was a missed opportunity for me. I was listening to my own album. It's available here and here and here. No, but
Ash got it on Bandcamp. I'm still being a slacker and listening to it for free.
Hey, wherever you find it, go with it. It's fine.
I was singing Vine while I was doing dishes the other day.
That's so fun. I love that.
That's now my favorite song. Middle-aged mom doing dishes is singing Vine.
That's so beautiful. I love that. That's my favorite song still. Yeah. That's my favorite song. I love that song so much. I haven't, and you know, when we first put that album out, actually the whole maybe week or two before we put it out, I was listening to it nonstop, and that's, and maybe getting back to what you touched on earlier when we were talking, is like you have that one album, you know, and I was having that moment with my own album.
Mm-hmm.
Like, gosh, I can't believe we made this. I can't believe this is done. I can't believe 3 years ago when we started working on it that we would get to this point. Like I never thought about it. Like being a finished product, like there was an end result. I couldn't see it in my head. And then it was there and everything fell into place, kind of. So I listened to it on repeat nonstop for almost 2 weeks. And then when we put the music video out, I listened to that song on repeat for like 2 weeks and kept watching the video over and over. And now I've hit this space where I'm like, I don't need to hear it again.
Right.
I don't need to hear my old, I'm like, I don't need to hear it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a different kind of experience as the creator of music to then have to listen to it. Like, I hate rewatching my own YouTube videos. I'm like, oh. Yeah.
I feel that. And sometimes,
do you hear all the flaws, all the things that you would change, or do you are you able to actually sit back and enjoy it?
both. Yeah. There's moments where I've listened to it and just like cried, because I was like, with the song Vine specifically, because I'm like, this is my life, this is the truth, this is how I felt like in that time or now or whatever. But in the other songs, and there's flaws in every song. Like, I'm not a perfect vocalist, and I had to come to a space in my life where I was like, listen, I'm not the type of singer that, you know, started vocal lessons at the age of 5 and conditioned my voice for 15, 20 years. I'm not the type of vocalist that wakes up every day and the first thing I want to do is sing and I want to rehearse. I'm just like, I had to accept this about myself too, because I felt bad about it for a long time, and I don't feel bad about it anymore sometimes, but not so much. And I had to accept the fact that, like, no, this is the type of artist I am. When I have a feeling that I can't let go of, I write the lyrics down, and then I make those fit into whatever piece of music is in front of me at that time, or make it fit with a different one, and the ideas start to snowball. So when Frank started writing, my bandmate Frank writes all the music. I only wrote the music to like one song, which is my least favorite song, but that's a different story for a different time. He would just present me with something. He'd be like, hey, I'm working on this thing. Here's a 1-minute loop of it for 5 minutes. This is the demo. And then I just listened to it. And for this project, I said to myself, whatever words come to my head in that moment is the words that are going to be the song. And then I just ran with that, wrote some words, came back. I'm a big fan of simplifying my work. If I feel it's too many words, too many syllables, I edit down. I like for my vocals to be very minimal in a lot of ways. So that was basically the process for this. And I hear the flaws, I hear the things I want to change, but then, and sometimes that makes me feel bad. But on the other hand, I'm like, this is so human. Like, this is so human. Like the reflection of the imperfection makes this so human and so real. And I'm not a commercial music artist, and I'm not knocking commercial music, but I'm saying there's probably a lot more pressure, a lot more preparation, a lot more software to make things sound perfect and polished. And that's really not what I do. I don't think I can do that.
Yeah. And I, frankly, like for myself personally, that's my preference for a lot of music. You know, I was, big grunge band fan of the 90s, that kind of thing. So the whole unpolished kind of rawness, just having some of that aspect in it, I think. Well, and obviously you're a Gwen fan, so.
She has pretty bad vocals, and that's what I love about her. Yeah. I love it.
Bring in the realness, because life isn't perfect.
It's not.
It's messy and it's emotional and it's glorious. So
I agree completely. So so you can find all of that and more on the new Glacier Wave album.
Yes. Link in the description below. Do it.
Yeah.
I command you.
Yeah.
Listen to Glacier Wave, sweat, workout to it.
Cry.
Cry to it. That's the thing. You know, sometimes you just need a freaking emotional release. And this again ties back into some of my issues with jock jams and with fitness culture in general, is that it's always so on, let's go, come on, big smile. And it gives people the impression that you have to be this manically happy person in order to exist in this space. And you just don't. You can be a sad, angry, depressed person and it exists in this space. You can cry if you want to. You can listen to crazy music if you want to. And, you know, and I mean, I know not all environments are conducive to that. Like, you know, obviously if you're going to LA Fitness, crying and
they'll be like,
you know, probably not. But yeah, being allowed to experience the full range of human emotion, I think, is something that there's not enough of in our culture. There's so much pressure to be happy all the time, to be on all the time, to be perfect and polished all the time. And I hope that if we've learned anything in this past year is that we can still exist without being perfect and polished and presenting for the outside world, and just, you know, be okay with having some humanity, and hopefully we'll come out of it better for it. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely agree. Yeah, it definitely agree. And it's weird. So now after having this conversation with you, I feel 1,000 times better about showing up to our workouts going, I don't want to fucking do this.
Right.
Like, and literally sometimes just telling you flat out, I don't want to do this and I don't feel happy. And this is the one that I'm not going to get through. And then we do it every time. And we feel better afterwards. And then I have to just remember that piece. I feel better if I like swing this kettlebell around, and if I lift some heavy things, I'm going to sleep better. I'm going to just feel better, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, give yourself permission to feel what you're feeling, enhance it with some good goddamn music, and just break a sweat. Hell yeah. All right, listeners, I'm going to wrap this interview up right here. Thank you so much, Jaime, for joining us. And to all you beautiful people, be sure to check out Jaime's album. I will link to the description below. And if you want to listen to your own music and cry in the comfort of your own home while working out, you can join the Nerd Gym at www.thenerdgym.com. We do all of our classes live on Zoom, but y'all are muted so that you can listen to your own music. So you don't have to tell me what to put on. You can listen to your own music, jock jams or Fergalicious or whatever, or or Glacier Wave. All right. Bye.
Bye.